Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this live 8th day of December 2013 Sunday edition. And we're going to be here for the next 2 hours as we are every Sunday, Lord willing. And we will open the phones up as well. My biggest problem is getting on air and actually covering all the news and analysis and not just going back to the basics that we have a tyrannical planetary world government that has been established and pointed directly at humanity. This only happens occasionally where I'll go on air right at first and start talking, and then my throat is just incredibly dry and I'm on the verge of going into a giant hacking fit. But nevertheless, I will break down, just forgot to bring a glass of water in here. Nevertheless, I will break everything down here today. The good news is a lot of people are waking up to the fact that we are facing a planetary, scientifically orchestrated tyranny by a collection of criminals, but they all basically leave the growing tyranny in place because they all seek to control it. So there are many spiders and many webs, but they are all of one spirit and one mind at the bottom of the pit. They are birds of a feather that flock together. And so today, when we kick off the official transmission at the start of the next segment, some stations don't carry this first 5 minutes, we will go into all of the news. Here are just some of the stacks. New York City, and it's not just New York City. The Daily Caller got it partially right. It's all of New York State begins confiscating firearms that were previously registered. So that's why they use the registration and purchase records. That ties into Republicans' tout campaign to blunt Obama's executive powers. That'd be like a 1940 headline saying, oh, the German Reichstag is trying to blunt the Fuhrer's powers. How dare them? Because the article basically makes light of it. Like, well, they won't get anything done, so Obama's got to be a dictator. Very disgusting how our liberty goes out with a whimper, not with a bang. The illegal immigrants are seeking in-state tuition all over the country and getting it thanks to judges. Can I go to Mexico and get in-state tuition? No, I can get thrown in a dirt-floored jail and get my teeth knocked out, but that's okay. Nobody wants to report on that when that happens. Continuing, we're going to get into the really serious news. Detroit ruling opens the door to pension cuts across the nation. They've slashed pensions by 80% now in Detroit, and Rand Paul has a plan, he thinks, to fix it. We're going to talk about that. Thousands seek refuge at Central African Airport, where the Muslim minority brought in by the West, and in the past backed by the West. They've now turned Libya over to these folks to use that as a conduit to pump them into the rest of Africa. They're killing the Christians en masse, just like the UN always sponsors the Muslims, animists, and others to do. That's in the Associated Press, but you will not be hearing about that really on the news much here. Because when blacks kill blacks by the millions, it's a non-issue. Only white evil is exposed in Africa, because then it's always used politically for a new group of white people to come in and take over and enslave everyone even worse. That's just generally how it works. Also, Mark Faber, financial crisis don't happen accidentally. They are inevitable. Hong Kong quarantines 19 people over second bird flu case. A big stack of NSA police state spy grid news, as basically everything we've talked about over the years is admitted mainstream news. We're going to be getting into that. And we're going to get into record cold temperatures because Al Gore said we're having warming and penguins can't swim. Alex Jones here. My friends, it is the 8th day of December 2013 on this live Sunday worldwide transmission. We're here every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 5 to 7 Eastern, obviously. 2 to 4 Pacific, 3 to 5 Mountain. Broadcasting worldwide on the AM and FM dial, global shortwave, satellite, internet, the podcast, all of it is there at Infowars.com or prisonplanet.com on the listen pages, or on our Facebook pages, or Real Alex Jones on Twitter if you'd like to follow us there. This news is so important, I've absolutely got to cover all of it today. Here's what we've got. A big stack of naked, beyond 1984 police state measures that are targeted at the American people and are openly, completely illegal. We're going to get into that stack of news here today. First off, then we're going to get into some amazing science and technology discoveries that are really interesting. And so many of these discoveries are actually just reconfirmations or expansion of knowledge of what we already knew. Things like vast freshwater reserves discovered under the ocean floor, which could supply future generations. That's right, there's two different oceans. There's a freshwater ocean under the saltwater ocean. Unbelievably important information. That's just some of the technology news and science news. Of course, the big news is in California, Oregon, New York State, you name it, they are confiscating almost all the firearms and using interpretations that aren't even in the unconstitutional legislation that has been passed. And they are using gun purchase records and threatening people. We're going to show you the letter that goes out where they say rifle and shotgun, basically turn them all in. And my point is they're always saying that, oh, we don't want your guns, just register them. And then the first thing they do is move to take your guns. And they've got, every couple days, a new Army colonel, because that's what they'll use for propaganda, or lieutenant colonel. They've got him at Texas A&M University. They've got him at West Point. They've got him, this guy's at West Point, this latest one, published in Esquire, saying, quote, we'll take your gun from your cold, dead hand. And then other quotes about he's sorry what has to happen to us now. I mean, it is creepy. And they've got all these other Army colonels coming out saying, we're bringing in world government. We're preparing for war with the Tea Party. We're going to take your guns. Only the state can have force. I mean, this is Stalin talk. Can't we have just one country where they haven't socialized everything and made everybody slaves and taken the guns, and where the state is God? I mean, I thought America was supposed to be about the family and private property and guns, and that made us the richest country in the world. And now we're going the opposite direction. And a bunch of offshore fat cats have written the battle plan, and the kleptocratic government goes along with it. The prostitute media goes along with it. And now we're in deep trouble. And their answer is more tyranny will fix things. So I've got that stack of news. I've got this really important article because it illustrates everything I'm talking about. I keep wondering, where's mainstream media when the last 3 weeks they've had multiple House and Senate hearings about how Obama is officially a dictator now? Officially. Now, that doesn't mean he won't leave office, but he's turned the office itself into a classical dictatorial system. Forget the three branches of government now. It's one. And the erosion, as Jonathan Turley, who's really a classical liberal, he testified to Congress and said, we're in deep trouble. And we played this report last week. We played clips from Congress where he and other top lawyers from the left and the right, but also members of Congress, said, well, yeah, Obama is implementing total amnesty by fiat. He doesn't even sign executive orders now. He just tells ICE and the federal departments just to do it. He's saying he'll change Obamacare without changing the law. I mean, even the former head of the Democratic National Committee, Howard Dean, came out a few weeks ago and said, he can't do that. That's dictatorial. And the Democratic Party came out and said, oh, no, this is how he fixes it. So on shutting down power plants that aren't owned by his insider buddies, like General Electric, he's not even using executive orders. He's just doing it. He raised carbon taxes this year without even an executive order, which is unconstitutional. He just spoke to a bureaucrat, and then it was added into a directive. That was in the news, but only in a regulatory publication that covered regulations. Now he just speaks like he's an ancient king or something. So let it be written, so let it be done, that the great emperor has spoken, Kim Jong-un. Even Kim Jong-un puts it down on paper. So on guns, they're using executive power outside of Congress. They put our military under NATO UN command. And Obama sent a letter to Congress when they complained last year and this year, 3 different hearings, and said, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Here's a letter. I inherently can do this. So the military, energy, just basically everything, guns, the right to self-defense, states' rights, you name it, across the board, they just do whatever they want now. And here is a Hill article. In fact, I'll just cover this now and then go to break and come back with the NSA news. Republicans tout campaign to blunt Obama's executive powers. So I kept wondering, how will the dinosaur state-run media, the lapdog media, how will they deal with this? Because there's just no coverage, unless you're at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or DrudgeReport.com, links to a congressional testimony, and you watch a 30-minute video. No one is talking about this. No one is talking about this. And so I've been asking for 3 weeks. They're actually having hearings. Good job, Congress. But they're very milquetoast. Well, it is dictatorial. It is dangerous. And we've seen the last 6 years it go from unprecedented executive power grabs to just outright. And, you know, this is dictatorial now and could overthrow the government. All these top constitutional lawyers, and we're really in trouble. And the public really has a right to revolt physically against this, according to the Declaration of Independence. And everybody's looking like the canary, the cat that's just eaten the canary. It's just bizarre. And I'm like, wow, this is really encouraging, but where's the media? I mean, even if they're lapdog, they've got to report on this. So The Hill comes out with an article, Republicans tout campaign to blunt Obama's executive powers. To blunt his executive powers? It's to blunt a classical, dictatorial, totally unconstitutional power grab, no debating it. No debating it. Congress says do not implement carbon taxes. He does it. He says he'll decide with the tax Obamacare what to implement and what not to. The president doesn't decide taxes. Congress does. He executes it. It goes on. And when we come back, I'll finish up with this article because they basically criticize the Republicans for daring to question Obama. After all, he's just trying to fix things and help us.
Jones.
Earlier, I was trying to, off the top of my head, think about all the things Obama is doing in a dictatorial fashion. And my head started spinning on air trying to think of them all because there's so many. Think about how they've used the IRS and the FBI to target gun owner groups, gun manufacturers, Tea Party groups, Christian groups, pro-life groups. And then it came out that they lied to Congress, that it was ordered by the head of the Justice Department and from Obama, and then no one gets in trouble. Just like the head of, quote, national security, Clapper, got caught lying to Congress and admitted it and has not gotten in trouble. And then a federal judge came out, 2 months ago and said, I've seen the documents and I'm ordering all this made secret on the NSA because the government would fall if the people knew. The government would, folks, they're using it politically. We already know. I live this. I sit here every day looking at, let's not exaggerate, 300, 400 news articles, government documents, legislation. I know the whole history of this. Since the 80s, with the NSA expansion and echelon, everything's been recorded since 1990 illegally. And the big issue is it's been used to control Americans and manipulate us. And I've got that in the stack of news today, because now that we can admit that there's an illegal NSA operating against us, before it was that doesn't exist, don't listen to crazy people, nobody's listening to that, there's no tyranny, there's no death panels, Obamacare won't raise your premiums, the bill says it will, shut up, racist. They want to just stop debate. But once you have a real debate, now Wired magazine, everybody else is digging into it going, Everything is recorded, and they're using it for political power, and it's bipartisan, and it's totally illegal, and top corporations get the data on their competitors, and oh my gosh, there's a total plan to take control. Oh my gosh, it's in USA Today in Friday's weekend edition that what we broke 3 weeks ago, of course, they don't give us credit. I don't need prostitutes to give me credit about the wireless hubs Homeland Security put up everywhere to steal all your cell phone data before it even gets to the phone company. That's in USA Today this weekend. I'm going to show you that. And who broke it? We did, because we were sent internal intel by city workers. I'll just leave it at that. They said it's unbelievable that we are sitting here in the Threat Fusion Center dialing into anybody's phones we want. If they want to listen to what their girlfriend's doing, they just dial it in and listen to her. I mean, it is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And it has nothing to do with protecting any of us. It is about criminal interests doing whatever they want and having an upper hand to get away with levels of oppression and theft and tyranny the planet has never seen before. And now we can have a debate about all this. But let me finish up with this first. Republicans tout campaign to blunt Obama's executive powers. Now listen to how this article, I mean, the headline should be, Congress finally stands up to Obama's attempted dictatorial takeover. People say, well, that sounds a little political. What is it when it's happening? What are you supposed to say when our military's put under foreign command? When Obama puts Obamacare in, and then it screws everything up, and then they act like, oh, they didn't know that was going to happen. Oh, the answer is give me more power. He doesn't say, give me more. He says, I will decide what to implement and what not to, which they were already doing, giving thousands of major corporations that gave Democratic Party money waivers. You go give them $100,000 like McDonald's did. The million employees of McDonald's are now exempted from it. Literally. We're talking about billions of dollars in the aggregate for a $100,000 investment, $1 million investment. You look at all their donations, it's well over $1 million a year. The point is, this is incredible. This is the new discrimination, the new tyranny, where these corporations literally write the laws to shut down their competition and cut themselves out of the regulations, just like Congress is exempt from Obamacare. Yeah, there's USA Today again. McDonald's, 29 other firms get health care coverage waivers. That's from a couple of years ago. That was 2010. It's several thousand waivers now. Group waivers. That was when it was 29 when they first did it. And notice it was 29 at first, and then it was 300, and then 800, and then 1,000. And last time I saw it was 2,000 plus mass waivers. Some of these waivers are for 1 million people apiece. This is the essence of oppression, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get into the snot-nosed article. Out of the Hill, that's the newspaper that reports in D.C. on all things Washington. House Republicans say they're proud of their 2013 campaign to stymie President Obama's regulatory agenda. Oh, they're proud of it. Look what they did. Even as Congress comes under fire for one of the least productive years. The idea is pass more laws, more regulations. It's good to have gridlock. The founders said you want 3 branches of government so one of them doesn't get too powerful and become a dictatorship of the Congress. A oligarchy is what it would be, or a dictatorship of the courts, a oligarchical tribunal system. That's happened a lot in history, or the big one that happens the most of the time. It's like the lung cancer of tyranny. Executive tyranny, dictatorship, one man, Caesar, Hitler, Stalin, Mao. You know their names. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man on the white horse. He'll save you from the problem. Japan officially voted in dictatorship of their diet, or whatever you call it, this week. They had fistfights in their Congress as they made the whole government exempt from laws and secret and went on to a war footing against China. Again, this is why war is the health of the state, because it lets them create problems or get into problems and then make themselves exempt from everything, rob everyone blind, have national rationing, steal the money. We're going into it again. The whole world's just like in the 30s, is going into fascism. Oh, they call it socialism. That doesn't even exist. It's always just fat cats who want to pool all the money and then steal it. You can give it different names. It's tyranny. It's slavery. It's authoritarianism. And I read one line of this snot-nosed article. Oh, they're real proud of themselves. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're blocking Obama, so he's got to be a dictator as the country's in trouble. This is what they do. They create the crises and then go, you better do what I say or it'll get worse. You better give me trillions more or too big to fail or the whole economy will go down. Do what we say. And the Republican Senate leadership is paid off by the same people, and they're trying to shut down the Tea Party Republicans in the House. God bless those libertarian Republicans. They are the only thing trying to hold back pure evil. And that's why the entire media system and the whole New World Order, Democratic and Republican leadership are after them. And don't worry, they're probably going to get beat. And they're going to rob you 7 ways to Sunday and bankrupt this country down to its bedrock because they're going to re-engineer everything. Cloward and Piven, it's on, it's happening, get ready. Look at this headline right here. The article just goes on and on. I can't even read it. It makes me so angry. Detroit ruling opens door for pension cuts across the nation. Oh, you know what Homeland Security's now for. Suckers that work for the government and big corporations, they're going to take everything. They haven't bought billions of rounds of ammo and 7,000 armored vehicles and trying to take on Americans for nothing. This is the giant heist, the takedown of America. We're alive and kicking. We know who the enemy is. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. That's 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. We're here on air, ladies and gentlemen. Then back live Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. And you are tuned in live, ladies and gentlemen. Open phones for first-time callers yet again in the second hour on any of the news items I've thrown out or any topics or questions you have. I'll give that number out at the start of the next segment and open the phone systems up. So let me just get back to this article I was talking about. Imagine that they've had 3 different hearings in Congress about executive power grabs. They've got famous liberal, conservative, and libertarian law professors, constitutional law professors like Jonathan Turley and others, who's far from some right-wing Republican, totally freaked out, saying never in U.S. history has a president across the board acted in this dictatorial way. And this sets a precedent that, quote, may overthrow our country. We played those clips throughout the week from different hearings they were having during the weekday show. You can go to Infowars.com and see the articles. In fact, Kit Daniels is actually up here working on Sunday, one of our great writers. Maybe have him post the John Bound piece he put together and other articles that have been out. Maybe his one big boil down about, Congress investigates Obama the dictator. Or something like that, just so everybody can go see the last few weeks' reports all in one spot. That's a good idea. Post that on Prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com because most of that is scrolled off the site. I've told my writers and my Infowars Nightly News reporters, we need, in the last 3 weeks especially, to really focus on Obama the dictator because finally people are really going, man, it's not like he's just signing executive orders over what type of China they have in the White House. The first executive orders by George Washington were his funding given to him by Congress to run the New York White House at the time, back when the White House was there before the British attacked it and blew it up in another subsequent war later after Washington's time. But the point is that then executive orders became how the president wanted different agencies to implement already standing law. And now it's everything. Yeah, there's Real Clear Politics headline. Turley, Obama's become the very danger to the Constitution that the Constitution was designed to avoid. So, again, and Drudge Report linked to that. Other than DrudgeReport.com, linking to video on this stuff, and Infowars.com, literally no one is picking this up. So finally, the fact that Congress is having hearings on what to do about Obama, who has become a dictator by every yardstick. On a scale of 1 to 10, he's about a 6 or a 7. Do we allow basically the end of our republic and just set the precedent that presidents can do whatever they want now? Because I think Obama will probably leave. The power structure just wants to be able to have the precedent set where they can do whatever they want with future presidents. And that's what all the constitutional lawyers are freaking out about, because now it's so brazen, it's so naked, it's so obvious that there's no rule of law. And Obama is doing things that are illegal takings, shutting down whole industries, or only shutting down parts of industry not controlled by his cohorts. This is the very heart and blood of oppression and discrimination. It is the essence, the spirit of tyranny. Remember, Obama's a constitutional lawyer. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, let's continue here, reading this article. Oh, the House Republicans tout campaign to blunt Obama's executive orders. Yeah, House Republicans say they're proud of the 2013 campaign to stymie President Obama's regulatory agenda, even as Congress comes under fire for one of its least productive years. Democrats lobbied for carbon taxes. They voted it down. Obama did it anyways. They passed Obamacare. Now he says he will selectively enforce it. So he'll now go against the law as well, the way he wants. See, if they don't pass a law, he does what he wants. If they do pass a law, he does what he wants. His own law that his lawyers help write with Zeke Emanuel, who admits it's meant to bankrupt America and bring us under total control. And by the way, he said that a month ago on Fox News Sunday. He said it again today. We have a new clip on Infowars.com. And we're going to get to that if we have time in the next hour. The point is, he's saying, it's good that you're getting kicked off your insurance. You don't need individual. It's good it makes your price go up. Again, this is the flaunting it to normalize it now. Well, of course we're training to take on gun owners and take your guns. Well, of course there's the death panels. Archetypal evil. The bitterly divided Congress will pass fewer laws in 2013 than any year in modern history. As a result of the gridlock, President Obama has turned to his administration regulatory authority to pursuit of key policy goals. Well, if he has goals, then it doesn't matter if the House Republicans are barely blocking total gun bans, total open borders, total shutdown, 52% of our power-producing coal power plants, totally shutting, putting our military under foreign command. But he doesn't care. He still does it. And so this article just goes on to say, how dare them? Did you hear about the dirty rats that thought the president shouldn't be a dictator? Yeah, if they would have just got behind the Fuhrer, the Fuhrer's smart. He knows how to fix things. I mean, the dear leader, Kim Jong-un, and his dad, Kim Jong-il. And Congress had hearings on Monday about Obama's moving to just suspend election laws, basically. They're already doing it with the illegal aliens, letting them vote, giving them driver's license, giving them free tuition, literally buying mercenary armies to come in and vote to enslave everyone for 20 pieces of silver. Now, that's one article I've been ranting about, and it just goes on and on and on. Oh, it's inevitable Obama becomes dictatorial to save us. And he's been saying the last few years, listen, if they won't do what I need on this, I'll just have to act. At first, he'd tell crowds, I've got to follow the Constitution. I can't act on my own. I'm not a dictator. Now he's like, I'm not going to let Congress block me, and if they fail to act, I'll have to. And now he's like, you bet, I'll fix Obamacare. I'll fix everything. And now we're under a dictatorship, and they have hearings on it, and not one controlled media outlet, CNN, ABC, NBC, I've seen none of them covered it. None of them have covered it. None of them have covered it, but now the Hill. Can you believe those dirty meanies? All he wanted to do was give you free health care, and now you have it. But to get it, he has to be a dictator and annul parts of his own law, which he's going to do, but then won't fix it either. It's all part of just suckering you that someday you'll get the lottery ticket numbers. Someday, this is what you always hear in an authoritarian, collectivist, socialist, or fascist system. Now, let's get to some other Obamacare news here. Police state. County censors government employee who dares criticize Obamacare. They say that they preach about Obama. They have Obama literature and paraphernalia everywhere. But a woman who's been there 20 years, a senior, a member of the city government, there in the Silicon Valley area, dared to lightly criticize that her rates had gone up. And she was told, you say that outside the building or you'll be fired. And she said, but you're allowed to talk about how great Obama is. And they said, listen, it doesn't matter. He is our king. So there you go. It's very authoritarian, but so what? It's for a good cause. I mean, we got to get behind Obama and he'll deliver us all the free goodies. Just like Nelson Mandela promised to deliver everybody socialism and communism in South Africa. I'm not for apartheid, but it's like saying I'm not for being hit by a truck, so it doesn't mean I'm for being thrown into a incinerator either. It's like which latrine do I want to bathe in? Apartheid or Winnie Mandela murdering small children with tires around their necks and bragging about it? You know, South Africa on record is economically 4 to 5 times worse than it was. That's admitted, by the way. But it doesn't matter. It's politically correct, so that's what matters. Just trade one group of slave masters for the new commie ones. But as long as they're the same color as us, that's fine. I'd love somebody that tried to promote freedom. I wouldn't care if they had green skin. But again, I'm an extremist, though. I don't look at skin color. That's what makes me a racist. We'll be right back with the big news on the NSA. Only now do folks figure out that intro that we've been airing for 16 years or more since my show was syndicated is not a joke or is not a game. I have recognized the authoritarian creep for a long time, and now it's on a creep. It is a mad dash to the finish line. We are becoming a corrupt system. And the establishment is at war with all the checks and balances because that is barriers to them literally usurping you and your family and converting you to absolute chattel serfs. That's a fancy way of saying slaves. And you have to understand that this is how tyrannies work. They only progress and get worse. So the system that we're fighting is a progressive movement. It progresses like brain cancer. It progresses like the worst malignant tumors. And it tells you that it's doing a great job and going to help you. And in each stage, as the country gets sicker, the answer is more, more, more. But remember, they've always said, we don't want your guns. That's outrageous. And then we show the quotes and the videos and the bills they've introduced and the cities they control, New York, Chicago, D.C., total gun bans. And they go, no one wants your guns. Just let us ban some of them and register the rest. And then as soon as they register them, they take them. They've done this all over the world, and then the crime rates explode. Because you have criminal government that wants to disarm you. And they've taken the guns everywhere else. Why can't we be like Switzerland, the 1 or 2 countries with guns? Oh, they want them because they care about the children. Oh, but 60+% drop in children being shot, 51% drop in overall crime using guns, Justice Department's own numbers. People say, well, why do you believe those numbers but there are other numbers? These are some of the oldest statistics around. For about 90 years, the FBI has gathered statistics from local government. They've been found by major universities to be amongst the most accurate statistics. Murders, stabbings, assaults, rapes, very accurate numbers. Very accurate. And so the reported number of crimes using guns has gone way down. No one debates that, by the way. They just don't want you to talk about those numbers, but they say, but what about the children? What, a Democrat who is a Satanist tried to get a gun 5 times illegally and then went to Sandy Hook, and then everybody stood down, and now they've really covered up what really went on. It's very suspicious. And then all these other shooters are like devil-worshipping Democrats. If we should be profiling anybody, it's devil-worshipping Democrats. Hi, I'm a devil-worshipping Democrat. I want to buy a semi-automatic rifle. No, I'm not selling to you. I have a right to not sell. You're a devil-worshipping Democrat. I'm not. I mean, literally. Video game devil worshippers. There's some new devil worshippers who've been arrested who said they wanted to go out, a husband and wife, and just pick somebody up. He used his wife to do it, and then they stabbed him in the car just because they wanted to kill somebody, reportedly. Should we ban knives because some Satanist? Oh, baby, it's so sexy. I couldn't imagine to my wife, oh, baby, I want you to go pick somebody up and I'm going to stab them. Oh, baby, yeah. I mean, that's the reason I got guns is for people like that. Unbelievable. I got to give up my weapons when I've never committed a crime because there's a bunch of fruitcake Satanists out there? I got an idea. I'll keep my guns. And by the way, it's a bunch of Satanists who want our guns. All of you chicken neck Satanists can go straight to where you came from, and we all know where that is, you scumbags. They all want our guns, so we roll over. They're a bunch of wolves. They want us to be sheep. Wake up! They've stolen every other basic liberty, our future, our heritage, our culture, our rights. And Obama got secretly recorded in that private meeting with billionaires and people. He said, I'll get their guns, the bitter clingers. They cling to their Bibles and their guns. And they are like, ugh, ugh. They hate us because of their criminal energy, their criminal instinct. They are criminal enemies, period. They're a gang of scum. They're not liberals that want to give you something free, fools. Fools! I'm talking to Obama supporters out there. By the way, the wolf in sheep's clothing is the Fabian socialist symbol, and that is their model. Obama is an admitted Fabian socialist. You might want to find out what that is. It's kind of like reading Mein Kampf. Hitler did everything he said he'd do. Why didn't you people read it? By the way, when I go over to families' houses and they got the football on, like last night, watching Baylor destroy UT, and I'm sitting there watching about an hour of it, and I started watching it. You know, I played football. I like football as much as anybody, but my mother's like, why are you offended and making fun of this? And she says, it's just a game. We all went to UT. A lot of your family went to Baylor, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you realize they're literally setting up a dictatorship right now. And I see this as a symptom of people only caring about football and knowing all the players' names and all the facts, but not knowing about what dictatorship is or our coal power plants being shut off. And she's like, I know about all that stuff, and I'm concerned, but we're just having some fun right now. And I'm like, I understand. But if I get a little nauseous watching this and watching everyone take it so seriously and all the men jump up and down and the women excited over their team winning, I wish people were that excited about free market or about the Second Amendment. We have an army of evil being created against us. We're going down the classical road of collapse. And almost every man I know who even knows about politics goes, hey, but how about them Dallas Cowboys? And I'm like, I don't watch it. I don't want to know about it. Well, that doesn't sound very fun. What isn't fun is losing everything we've got and being slaves, okay? I mean, I take it real personal when Violence Policy Center and Handgun Control Incorporated officially say their goal is the total abolition of the Second Amendment and the confiscation of all our guns. And then they get on the news and say, we don't want that, we're your friends. And the average person that doesn't own guns says, hey, keep stroking your guns, you'll be fine without them. Don't you get it, moron? Moron gun control people. When they take the guns, idiots, they take everything else, dumbasses. And I'm sorry to have to talk to you like that, but you better get it through your skull, moron. It is the canary in the coal mine. We are at red level emergency. They are setting up classical tyranny. Look at this. Everywhere. New York City, New York State. Even the few concealed carry holders they had in New York are being told anything that can hold more than 5 rounds, turn it in or we're going to arrest you. And here's the letter that people in New York State are getting. And they're even interpreting this: if a gun could take a clip that has more than 5, you got to turn it in. Okay? And then you look at the image of the police chief and people that are doing this. They just radiate thug criminals. I mean, you just look at them, and they could be in Goodfellas right now. Look at this guy. I have seen at least 10 colonels and lieutenant colonels the last year in West Point put out policy papers. This is who teaches the new officer corps of the U.S. Army. Can you imagine if George Washington, who fought a war mainly over the right to self-defense, knew about this? I mean, I know what he'd say about this guy. I know what George Washington would say. I know. And you know what he'd say. And then he'd follow out with action right after he said it. You know what George Washington would do. He would go after this guy. I'm just telling you what our founder would do, okay? If you don't like it, go to the 190 other countries where they don't have guns, idiots. Leave my country alone. I'm sick of you idiots who think the system's your friend because you're so gullible and dumb and come from families of weak scum who live off of real Americans that work hard and fight hard and are real. We're sick of all you. We're sick of pulling the wagon while all your fat butts sit in the back talking trash about us because you're so stupid and you wear your mantle of ignoramusville as a shield. Colonel Robert Bateman, look at this guy. Look at him. He openly writes in Esquire, "We will pry your guns from your cold dead hands. We will ban everything but smoothbore black powder for hunting. Only the state is allowed to have guns." Go read this creature's quotes, ladies and gentlemen. Go read it. And by the way, he's a Homeland Security advisor. And by the way, it's like that Black Panther leader, it turns out, is over procurement of weapons, the billions of rounds of ammo. It's been out for 3 months that he says they're going to kill all whites through Homeland Security. And he's like a Ku Klux Klan black guy times 50. And they're going to let him keep his job, saying they're preparing for race war, which is all part of the division. You've got crazy people calling for race war and killing all whites. There it is, DHS employee behind website promoting race war on paid leave, finally, after total freakout. I mean, listen, if I was promoting killing all black people, I should be arrested. That's not free speech to say we're going to kill an entire group of people. I mean, it's a subversion plan, ladies and gentlemen. And then you got this Colonel Bateman. Go read his quotes, and he's in Small Wars Journal, the same one that had another colonel say the main enemy is the Tea Party and gun owners. And this is who gets promoted. They come out and say this because they fire the other officers and literally put these globalist agents in place. And are we going to sit here and let them do this? Plus, here's the good news. I'll end this hour with this. Congress now has a 6% approval rating. No government's ever had a 6% approval rating. So the good news is even the sheeple know we have a bunch of traitors in charge. This government's illegitimate, run by foreign banks that are looting us like a giant bank robbery. Denying it is what allows it to happen. To all the men out there, if you don't get involved now, you're going to lose everything, and you know it. Now is the time to stand up. We'll be back second hour. Folks, I'd love to hear from callers all over the world. I'd love to hear from folks that lived in South Africa under Mandela. To give us your take, whether you loved him or hated him. We had some mixed calls on the Friday show, folks that didn't like Mandela but also didn't like apartheid. That's really what it is, trade one evil out for another. We're going to be talking about that. Your take on this mainlining of, okay, we are going to take your guns, and we're going to have a war with you, and you're the enemy, you, the American people that believe in American ideals. I mean, these are obviously the enemy, and they're obviously trying to elicit some type of war, which we don't want to happen. We're beginning to win the intellectual battle. 6% approval of Congress. We've got to reach out to other people every day to wake them up. I'd love to hear from folks on any issue you want to raise. Just please have a good telephone. And we don't screen your calls, but that still doesn't mean that my crew, I've instructed, if the phone sounds bad, we're not going to put you on air. Okay? I'm really trying to double down on that. Because phone quality just degrades, as everybody knows, worse and worse. Landline and cell phone. The quality just goes down in this modern age. 877-789-ALEX. I'd love to hear from you. 877-789-ALEX. That is the number to join us. And dial your country code in that number if you're living overseas. 877-789-2539. 877-789-2539. I haven't gotten into the NSA news yet, and I've just got to do it. But I promise the last 3 big segments will take nothing but calls. But when we come back, because this is a short segment, I'm going to get into the NSA news, tie it in with the police state news, and then some really big Fukushima news. And then we'll go to your phone calls for the balance of the transmission. But again, the number to join us is 877-789-2539. I say that over and over again when I want foreign callers, because I know you may have never called, need to write that number down. But it is first-time callers. I do first-time callers about half the time because people never have a chance to get in. But I promise this week on the weekday show, we'll have some days where we have free-for-all, as it's called. Now, I've gotten into some of the news so far, but, man, I went into a controlled rage earlier just looking at this Colonel Robert Bateman. I mean, just what a piece of garbage, man. Go to another country. Just openly laughing, openly prodding, openly nudging, openly saying we're going to get your guns, you don't deserve them. You don't deserve guns for self-defense. I mean, it's just purely, and look at him. He's got all these little low-level groups he's in, you know, all these stupid medals on him about how great he is and how he's a member of the... I mean, you know this guy would have been a redcoat in the Revolutionary War. At least that's my opinion in view of somebody like that. And they need to be countered. But I wouldn't even counter arguing with him. I would use this snake's admissions and other snakes' admissions of their absolute war on the American way of life and basic liberty as a way to warn others. I would go to city councils everywhere. They're televised. And I would read the different generals and colonels saying they're going to take our guns. And then the other generals, like the former head of Special Forces, General Boykin, saying there is a plan to confiscate our guns. Show real patriots who've been and seen more combat than you can imagine versus this supply clerk. It's always supply clerks who literally sit around dreaming of their takeover and reportedly threatening bloggers, going, I'm sorry for what's going to have to happen to you now for disagreeing with me. And, oh, I know there's, conflict coming, and we hope to not have to kill you. Hopefully we'll take your guns when you die of natural causes. Just total creepville. And you just look at the smile of cozying up to the power structure. I mean, this is just, and don't worry. Listen, if you say you're going to kill all the white people, you get the head Homeland Security job buying the machine gun bullets, like that black racist Black Panther leader. And if you're a colonel and say you want war with the Tea Party, like his other compatriots at West Point, well, I mean, they have the professor at A&M that teaches the military saying there's no Bill of Rights, we're getting rid of all of it. She just says it's outdated, we're getting rid of it. I mean, these people are coming. They're on a power trip, and they want war with us, ladies and gentlemen. I say we give them InfoWar up front.
A little over a
back, no matter where you're listening in the world, we'd love to hear from you. The toll-free number is 877-789-2539. 877-789-ALEX. And we are live on this Sunday worldwide broadcast. What does the Star-Spangled Banner stand for? What does the American flag symbolize? Private property rights, the family, gun ownership, the right to self-defense, states' rights. Having a government and a system that serves the people, not special interest. Your calls are coming up in the next segment. Let me now finish up with the police state news that I was getting into. So, all over the country, they're using gun purchase list that federal law bars them using to have the police departments under federal control send threatening unconstitutional extortion letters saying turn in your guns, even if the gun can accept a magazine that could carry more than 10 rounds. That's their interpretation of the widely written law. In the case of New York State, it's 5 rounds. And they're saying, we're going to SWAT team you, we're going to arrest you. So that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a TV viewer at prisonplanet.tv, you can see the actual letter from the police departments that's going out. And under federal grants, they're doing this. And the Army War College, West Point, Texas A&M, just go to Infowars.com, we have links to it, are all promoting now. There is no Bill of Rights, no Constitution, no First Amendment, no Second Amendment, nothing. Nothing. And they're just mainlining the whole deal. And then here's the London Guardian. Bill Bratton seeks good community relations to make stop and frisk work. Over 1 million people a year are stopped without warrants and searched. I've been searched in New York without warrants. Or without even probable cause or reasonable concerns. Not like, you're acting suspicious and got a bulge or something. And they are saying that Bill Bratton's record in Los Angeles, if any guide to New York, will see little dramatic reduction in the police tactic of stop and frisk, but improved targeting and community relations will soothe resentment. That's right. He will use lubrication. I heard if you put lubrication on the edge of a guillotine, imagine you could just get KY jelly and put along the blade. They should have done this in the French Revolution. Along that blade, actually, they did lubricate the blade when they would get dull to chop fat necks off better. But the point is, if you just lube the blade up, then you could put your baby in there and let the government chop it in half. And then it would make it okay as long as you made it, not as painful. Like a lethal injection. So kill the Constitution softly. A soft kill, kind of like the fluoride and the GMOs are called soft kill. Oh, it's not a Brad Pitt movie that coined the term killing you softly. No, it's a good movie, though. Even though, of course, it attacks Jefferson at the end and is pure BS, but it doesn't even matter, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't even matter. You think laying down new listeners is the way to be transported to Valhalla, to be transported to heaven? Well, you're going to find out. Let's shift gears now to the police state stack, or from the police state stack to the NSA stack. This is just what came out today. It's up on Infowars.com. Here is The Hill again. Patriot Act author, Obama's intel czar, should be prosecuted. Representative James Sensenbrenner, the original author of the Patriot Act, says Director of National Intelligence James Clapper should be prosecuted. Lying to Congress is a federal offense. He did it under oath, and he should be fired or prosecuted for it. That's because he said we're not listening to anything. That's real fact. That's a good one. And his real crime is he didn't butcher freedom up front like Sensenbrenner. You're supposed to do it like it's okay and act like you're not supposed to just say, oh, no, we don't listen to anything, I promise. Because then that makes all the liars look bad. His crime is not lying good to the scum sheeple in their view. But, and I remember a federal judge said about a month and a half ago, he said, if people knew what they were doing, it would, quote, bring the government down. And what is it they're doing? We know. It's in these different acts they had in the 80s and the 90s, like the Telecommunications Act and others. It's all there what they built. Because the telecoms are part of the same New World Order. They helped write it. They wanted to build it. It's a whole second internet that runs right along the other telecommunications hub that's paid for, and then they can also use that for their private communications. That's another, I know Dinosaur Media listens to the show, so here's the big report for you. They built Internet 2 starting in the mid-90s. They already had it before that, but they really beefed it up with hundreds of billions of dollars in the aggregate since then. Hundreds of billions in the last 20 years or so, really since the early 90s, to build a secondary internet that they run everything else over and steal your data through, but then they use for their own communications. So when they kill the old web, they're going to force you purely over to the new taxed and controlled one. And by the way, that's all official from Internet 2 consortium meetings in Tokyo, New York, Chicago, other areas. You might actually want to do some research, mainstream Dinosaur Media, or you could just be experts on football and act tough and be bankrupt failures as you are. Okay, let's continue on with the next story here. Oh, ex-official says FBI can secretly activate an individual's webcam without the indicator light turning on. That's out of the Washington Post. The Washington Post is saying that humans ride horses, or the light bulb was just invented, or the sun comes up. They've always used the cameras and microphones. I broke this in 1997. So there it is out of the Washington Post. Okay, but still I'm a kook for telling. Remember, it's real funny. People come over to my house and go, why is there tape over your camera? 15 years ago, I go, oh, well, they use that to watch people. And it's still funny that I'm right. I don't get a pat on the back for being right. I'm an idiot. Hey, everybody laugh at me and make you feel good, huh? And there's cancer viruses in your vaccines, and it's meant to give you the flu. On record, and there's poison in the water on record, but it's all funny. Doesn't matter if I have all the textbooks written by the White House science czar and others. Doesn't matter. I'm bad because I'm informed. See, it's cool to laugh at me, so come on. Let's all laugh. Hey, in fact, have a laugh on me. Let me give you another one. Law enforcement using methods from NSA playbook. That's because if USA Today would have read the InfoWars articles, which we wrote 3 weeks ago, breaking this from our insiders, they would have known it was Homeland Security grants that put these in. Wireless second sets of hubs, grabbing all cell phone data, violating law, they don't care, doing it to track everything you do and listen to you in live time. Because law enforcement is not federal, it's international, run by the narcotics, child trafficking, sex ring, New World Order globalist who really wanted to give you free health care because they care about you. That's why every country they fully get control of, they run giant slave camps doing everything you can imagine, from brick making to textiles, but suicide nets in China, but they're going to take good care of you. Oh, man, are they? Don't you worry. And cops, don't worry, you're going to have your whole future destroyed too. So just keep working for the system. Law enforcement using methods from NSA playbook, and then it gets into the towers everywhere, grabbing everyone's data. Go read the article. Oh, here's another one. Oh, the transatlantic cable is tapped, and Wired Magazine says they don't know who it is on a second set of internet cable. Oh, at all the telecoms. It's built right next to it, sometimes bigger than the regular stuff. Taxpayer paid for. It's all sent to Kansas City, Denver, Dallas, New York, D.C., Chicago, and then, of course, all sent to the NSA bases. It's sent to San Antonio. Oh, but they don't know what's happening. Someone's been siphoning data from a huge security hole in the Internet. The Internet is a giant security hole built by DARPA. Oh, but again, I'm informed and know a name. Oh, it ought to be illegal. I'm informed. Just laugh at me. That'll make you smart and cool. Oh, here's another one. They're now going to record brain activity and use it against you. Oh, IRS using Google Maps to spy on taxpayers to see what you've really done without a warrant. Big deal. So what? It's good to be spied on. Starting today, your iPhone can pester you by whatever you're standing next to. It tracks geographically everything you're doing. AP reports, sending it back to Homeland Security, but it's going to send you data on whatever you're next to until you go to the Chinese food restaurant you're next to or go to the brothel you're next to, whatever. And, of course, it's all spying on you. That's out of the Associated Press. Oh, and here's another one. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to come back and take your phone calls. Everything's all right, folks. The government is run by good people. They want to help you. That's right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to your phone calls here in just a moment. I wanted to, first off, throw out a few important points here before I hit one more news story. This broadcast is listener-supported. I have a few sponsors online at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com, but our standards are so high, I turn away over 90% of inquiries, literally, on record. And so I sell my own products. I sell things that I've researched that I personally use. The ProPure gravity-fed stainless steel tabletop filters are the best. They annihilate all the competition. I didn't sell filters for a year because I couldn't find something high enough quality. They cut out the glyphosates, the fluoride, all of it. We have them available at InfoWarsStore.com until Wednesday. I'm extending until Wednesday, and then that's it because the factory's almost sold out. They won't have more until January. On their entire line of gravity-fed stainless steel tabletop systems and their pitcher systems, you name it. 20% off, promo code WATER20 at checkout. That's 20% off, already the lowest price I'm allowed to offer. I've twisted their arm into doing this, and they've said, look, you got to stop this because it's hurting all the other distributors. So this deal is going to end in like 3 days. That's it. ProPure, InfoWarsStore.com, or 24 hours a day. You can call toll-free to ask any questions and order via phone, 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And Wednesday at, say, 3 o'clock, we'll stop having the 20% off. It'll be 10% off, promo code WATER. It's 20% with promo code WATER20. Now, lastly, look at this right here. This is from Zero Hedge with links to NHK, that's English-speaking national Japanese television. If you've ever been in a hotel room in like L.A. or something, you'll see national Japanese TV, but it's in English. You can watch the video on Infowars.com. Highest level ever recorded, highest radiation level ever recorded, lethal in 20 minutes, record outside Fukushima reactor. They have been melting down for 2+ years. It is leaking. It's now bogging down into a swamp because they got to keep dumping water on it. 5 of the 6 reactors blew up. It's all coming towards the United States. And here's the Fox News article. Radioactive Japanese wave nears U.S. set to hit early 2014. It's taken it 2.5 years to get across the ocean. Just absolutely all that radiated debris, it's coming. Now, how did I come out with InfoWarsLife.com and the purest form of nascent iodine out there? I did research for my family. We actually looked at leaving the United States because the Southern Hemisphere has lower radiation levels. This is so bad. And the doctors all talked to said, take real iodine. It'll protect you. I want to show viewers, if you're watching on TV something, anybody else can get their salt out of the cupboard. Look at this. This is McCormick sea salt right here. Sea salt grinder. This salt does not supply iodine, a necessary nutrient. The FDA wants them to say that. The weird thing is the FDA basically made folks put this in there till the 60s. Then they took it out, but they still make them say it doesn't have it. Very bizarre. The point is that 15% IQ increases in the areas deficient in iodine when they made them put it in there in the 20s. You can look that up. Just type in 15% IQ increase iodine. You'll get mainstream news. So this is the good halogen. This is what I've researched. This is what fills the glands so the radioactive isotopes can't. I have been taking this for about 4 months now. I've been selling it for 2 months. There's all these other nascent iodines. Ours, undoubtedly, you taste it, it's the best. It's in the true nascent form in a glycerin base. And it supports the broadcast. It's unbelievable. It's double the strength at half the price. InfoWarsLife.com. That's how we fund our operation. We have our new line of super high-quality Arabica, high mountain coffee right on the Guatemalan border from southern Mexico. The best coffee, I believe. It's my favorite coffee. So I went out and found the actual producers, the actual farmers, and have it now. We have the immune support as well. That's available at InfoWarsLife.com. But with all of this stuff happening, now is the time to protect your thyroid. And we also have 2 new products. We have the Super Male Vitality, talking to Dr. Group, and I took his proprietary form of this several months before, just with 6 natural herbs and minerals and just amazing things. There's actually more than 6. The point is, this stuff's the real deal for male enhancement at about half the price. Leading competitors. Try it. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. Folks know that. Only bringing the best products. My name's on this. InfoWarsLife.com. Super Male Vitality. It's about to sell out. We won't have more for 6 weeks. That's how hard it is to get the ingredients that are in this. And then lastly, Fluoride Shield dietary supplement. It's got the 6 ingredients, including the nascent iodine, organic tamarind, zeolites, organic fulvic acid, the shilajit, and organic cilantro, all to supercharge and pull the toxic fluoride out of your body. It's amazing. InfoWarsLife.com. I'm done plugging. I promise nothing but your calls now. But there are the products, InfoWarsLife.com. They make great Christmas presents as well. Let's go ahead. We got Timothy, Mark, Jesse, Tim, Chris, Jesse, Scott, Chuck, Kevin, Kenny. I will get to all of you if we have to go into overdrive like last week. Timothy in Virginia, what do you think of all the wild news we covered? West Point being taught that the Army's job is to take the Tea Party's guns. Obama becoming a dictator. No one seeming to even talk about it in the media. What'd you call in about, brother?
Well, I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener. Main thing I'm calling about, in your opinion, what can we do to help shut down the Federal Reserve? I mean, that seems to be the only solution we have to end all this madness. That's
right. The Federal Reserve was set up 100 years ago, December 23rd. It'll be its 100th anniversary. It is owned by 6 mainly foreign banks, Rothschild and British royalty banks, on record, and they are the ones that have slowly destroyed our way of life, and they are the top of the pyramid. That doesn't mean all the Federal Reserve members are bad. The Dallas Fed chief talks like me. I mean, he's not suicidal for America. So the whole Federal Reserve is not even bad, but the main shareholders, they're the ones that are bad. The so-called quasi-governmental bureaucracy, any system can have quasi-good people in it. They've had the Kansas City Fed head and the Dallas Fed head come out and say, apologize and say, I joined the Federal Reserve to help America. It's being used to transfer our wealth, impoverish us, and devalue the dollar. If Fed chiefs over 2 of the 12 regional banks go public, it's bad. And some say, well, they're rats leaving a sinking ship. They don't want the blame for this. Fine. Look, it's never too late to admit you were wrong. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think that people just need to come out, like the guy you just talked about in Texas, who's part of that Federal Reserve there, just, to help end it. Just need to speak up a little bit. I know that seems to be the only way to solve the problem.
Well, there's also great ignorance. My great uncle, my grandmother, who's still alive, her brother, World War II combat vet, great guy, Uncle Billy Pope, up in Dallas, he worked at the Fed. In fact, it was mid-level there. But the Fed also deals with the raw cash. He was over all that. And he started listening to my show. He died a few years ago. He didn't believe it, went and looked into it, and met with me and said, of course, he was retired then, and said, I can't believe this is all really real. I'm going to give it to the other employees. So it's a process. And I'm not saying Billy Pope woke up the head of the Fed there. My point is, millions of us doing that did that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And another thing, I watched that Aaron Russo, his documentary there on income tax, and I mentioned a lot about the Fed and all that sort of stuff. And so I just think, why even pay taxes anymore if they're just taking it just to support the Fed?
Ronald Reagan's own Congressional Commission in '81 found 100% of income tax goes to pay debt. It's designed to bankrupt us. The Feds have like 10 constitutional taxes. The income tax is not one of them. Great points, brother. All right, your calls are coming up after the news. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Up on Infowars.com, that article just went live. It's also on Prisonplanet.com. Obama being investigated for attempts to become a dictator by Congress. Top link, I just told Kit to red link it at the top of Infowars.com with all the congressional hearings, the links, the history of it. We're going to force this story out to where there can be a real debate about it. Because historically, if you let a president or a prime minister or a leader become dictatorial and get away with it, then things get really, really bad. And that's an understatement, obviously. Let's talk to Mark in Connecticut. Mark, thank you so much for calling in and holding today. Good to talk to you up there in Skull and Bones country.
You too, brother. How you doing?
Good, my friend. What'd you call in about today?
Well, I'm calling in because I'm from the unconstitutional state, and I'm a little bit worried because we got 22 days to register our firearms out here in our magazines.
That's right. And once you registered, New York State did it 5 years ago. Now they're confiscating. And once you register, then they confiscate. But they tell you, we're not going to confiscate. Just register them. Even though those very people admit they want to confiscate them. Yeah. So what are you planning to do? You planning to register them?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of up on the fence. I don't really want to, but I know a lot of people in the state seem to be doing that.
I know it's hard to leave a place you've always lived, and Connecticut's a beautiful state. Why don't you come to Texas or another state? They're trying to bring in illegals to outvote us and take our guns here. We need patriots, no matter what color you are or where you're from. In fact, if you're from Mexico and love the Second Amendment, please come. We need people that love freedom to come here and make a stand with us here in Texas. So I'd tell you, leave that place. Let it collapse like California.
I hear you, Alex. I wish I could. My wife's got relatives in Austin.
Well, Austin is their beachhead. That's why I'm here to fight them. But, yeah, just come on down here. Come on down. Let them all. Listen, they're like vampires. When you stay there, they get to feed on you. But, yeah, they swore that once they register them in Connecticut, they're going to ban everything. So, man, I tell you, they're making their move. They're not playing games. What do you think of all these Army colonels coming out at West Point teaching the young men that their job will be to fight Americans? I mean, that's treason.
You're absolutely right. It is treason. It's absolutely disgusting.
Well, people only care about football, so why not? I mean, while you're busy watching football, they're stealing your rights. God bless you. Good to hear from you. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. They mean business. That's what's frustrating is in all their policy papers they say, I mean, they publish them in Esquire. We're going to register and then we're going to confiscate them all. And if they don't, we're going to kill them. And then you're like, hey, they want to take our guns. No, we don't. Don't be a conspiracy theorist. The public goes, he's a conspiracy theorist. Oh, I mean, it's just so disgusting. It's so sad. Wow. Thank you so much again, Mark, for calling from Connecticut. Jesse in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Good, brother.
Hey, I was just calling. I'm actually from Fredericksburg and been listening to you since the old Austin Access days. But I was just wondering, what do you think would happen if Obama actually did abolish elections in 2016?
Congress is having hearings about that. If we don't beforehand see, they start becoming dictatorial on little issues, then bigger, now giant ones. I mean, now they're having hearings. Everybody's scared going, what do we do? He's planning to just do everything and take the guns by order. There'll be a civil war. The only reason the crooks in Congress are scared is they now realize they're going to be obsolete. The only reason CNN and MSNBC are admitting Obama, quote, has Soviet policies, that was a headline last week, is because they now don't even have press conferences. They have a press release. They all realize they're obsolete now. They helped sell us out, and now they realize they're obsolete. Exactly. Everybody else sold out everywhere else. I mean, there are countries in Latin America that have more resources than the U.S., but are hellholes because everybody sold out. Because there's no real men that would stand up for liberty early on. And they let tyranny take over. So then it doesn't matter how manly you are, you can't get out of it because the culture is irrevocably screwed. And so I don't know what to say, brother. What do you think will happen if he announces he's a dictator? Yeah, there's the Telegraph. Media attacks Obama's Soviet-style public policy. And MSNBC says he's the worst to the press in history. Yeah, no kidding, dummies. Go ahead, sorry.
I would think that Texas would be definitely here in Texas, we wouldn't put up with it, and we probably would become our own nation again.
That's why the Democrats brag in hidden camera video by the Veritas Project that they're going to engorge Texas with 20 million illegals alone, and they're going to vote to take everything we got. They're told, you will be given welfare if you vote to take the guns. And they say, yes, I will.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the Democrats
crazy.
brag, game over, folks, game over. They're taking our guns, we're their property. They are authoritarian, literal scum, and their followers are the biggest bunch of morons I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not romanticizing the Republicans. Their leadership's in bed with this, too. This is the takedown of America. The idiot Obama supporters who've had their taxes increased, their payroll taxed, who've had their premiums increased, they really think make him a dictator, he'll fix it. They wrote the bill, dummies. It's working just fine. God bless you, brother. Good to hear from you. Chris in Pennsylvania, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling, brother.
I've been listening to you for a couple of years. You woke me up, and I've been doing my best to wake my friends up, and I'm a first-time caller.
Well, good to have you on board, brother. What is on your mind?
Well, Alex, I learn a lot just from different jobs that I work, and for instance, today I was working at a college bookstore, and 3 of the titles, which I think you might find interesting, were Data Mining, a macroeconomics textbook by Paul Krugman, and a book, oh, damn, I forgot the third book.
No, listen. Almost all the scholarships are in data mining, surveillance, control, crowd control. The only way to get a scholarship now is to join the New World Order. They take our money and give it back to create a whole generation of jobs where that's all they know. Do you see what genius plan that is for social engineering?
Yeah, and these kids pay so much money for these educations where
let me guess. They pay $200 for Paul Krugman's data mining. That's his payoff, is they make these poor victims buy this New York Times writer's BS when his economics are manifest fraud on record.
Basically, I mean, it's Keynesian, and it's proven time and time again.
But it's not even Keynesian. It's beyond that. It's just like Soviet Keynesian.
Yeah, and another job I work, I teach violin, and I get to work with kids, and I work with kids and adults. And some of the kids that I work with, their parents tell me, that their schools are telling them that their kid has ADD and stuff like that. And I work with the kid, and they're highly energetic people, and
Sir, the New Freedom Initiative was written by Big Pharma 7 years ago on record to put 50% on drugs. They have goals where they don't get federal funds if half the kids. The old goal was 20%. They crossed that this year. Now they're going 50% on drugs, then 75%, and then wait for it. The official goal is 100% drug. It's now 70%. It was 66. 70% of foster kids are now on psychotropics. When you're in their hands, you know what they're going to... I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Make your point.
Yeah, they just, I try to plead with them. I say, look, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. I can't give you medical advice, but your kid is 7 years old, and they're really smart, and they have lots of energy. Don't put them on these drugs. And really quick, I'll plug for you. My wife and I bought your ProPure, and we tried the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. We actually got that twice, and we got one of your One World Ways, and we have liked all of your products, Alex. Thanks for being here.
I only promote good stuff, brother. God bless you. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. Billy Idol and his composers, he composed this. And Billy Idol, by the way, is a listener. I've confirmed that. He didn't want to come on the show, though. Did you know Billy Idol didn't build that music? Billy Idol did not make this. Mike Judge didn't make Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. He's a listener, too. Great patriot. None of these people did any of it. Government did it. Obama said so. And, we can sit here and make jokes about this. There's a red link on Infowars.com right now with the headline, Congress investigates Obama's attempt to become dictator. And when I was watching Congress the last few weeks having hearings on this and no one was covering it, it was freaking me out even more because it's verifying everything we've said, but it's like being reported like somebody lets you-know-what out in church. Everybody acts like it didn't happen. So it's like, let's just not admit this is going on. And that's how you get an Adolf Hitler or a Joseph Stalin. I mean, we are really following the path of destruction here, and I just want to stop it. Not because I'm even a good guy. I'm not some hero. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to see America destroyed. I don't want to see the free market destroyed, the greatest invention ever. You know, I kind of like freedom. I'm informed. And what does mainstream media do? They call me a conspiracy theorist, but then admit everything I've said is true, but act like it's no big deal. Don't you people get it? You can't sell everyone out around you and get out of it yourself. You got to stand for something. MSNBC, CNN, all of you fools. Look at CNN collapsing, go into an entertainment channel now with the ratings of the TV Guide channel. I told you years ago that was coming. That's the plan, morons. They'll now have the White House produce its own propaganda. That's now happening. I said I'd go to your calls. We got like 10 more of them. Jesse, Scott, Chuck, Kevin, Kenny, Tim, others. I'm going to you. 1 minute apiece. Jesse in Illinois, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello, Alex. First-time caller. I was calling about your national movement to boycott the NFL, and there's a petition on change.org I think you'd find very interesting. It's titled, Congress Revoke the Tax-Exempt Status of the National Football
Absolutely.
League.
You've got some NFL owners that make $100 million a year or more, and they're tax-exempt. Again, the rich guys are all tax-exempt. The average person isn't, and the same rich guys lobby to take our guns, to have Obamacare on the NFL. So the NFL, as far as I'm concerned, is the most un-American organization out there. They took Hank Williams Jr. off Monday Night Football and have Obama in his place. I mean, why not put Kim Jong-un in there? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the goal is 500,000 signatures. It's at 304,851. And there's one more petition on change.org I'd like to get to, and it's about Bradley Manning. It's titled Leon Panetta Grant UN, it's a hard word to pronounce, rapporteur on torture Juan Mendez access to Bradley Manning. That one's goal is 25,000. It's at 21,000.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we need to get Chelsea Manning out of president. I'm serious. I think, who cares if she thinks she's a man or a woman? I think that person, that human being, is a hero and had incredible courage. God bless you. I appreciate your call. Great points. Let's go now to Kenny in Florida. You're on the air, Kenny.
Listener since 08, and I appreciate you, buddy.
Well, God bless you, brother. Thanks for putting up with me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a disabled veteran, and I sent you a letter about 10 days ago from the VA saying that they were going to send my medical records to over 20 different organizations, whether I liked it or not.
Did you email it or snail mail it?
I mailed it to you.
All right, we'll try to dig through it and find. We get about 3,000 pieces of mail a week, but we'll look at it. But I saw this. They're going to share it with all these other agencies. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wonder, what's it going to take for us as men to stand up and say enough is enough? What kind of false flag do they have, you know, worked up to take our attention off what's going on? I just, you know, when's enough going to be enough, brother?
Well, here's the deal. Under federal law, they're not supposed to share your medical records. They just do it. The police aren't supposed to run illegal checkpoints. They just do it because they're paid to do it. Everything is about getting government to do things that are wrong. It's a revolution against America, a revolution against due process, a revolution against law. Obama becoming a dictator. It's like not even in the news. So I hear you. They are, listen, veterans everywhere. I know veterans. I know an NFL player, and I know a famous UT football player who both personally, in person, told me they have no criminal records. And when they both went, this is really weird because I've ran into them separately over the last 2 years, when they went to buy their grandson's rifles, they hadn't bought guns in a long time. You know, you buy guns, you got plenty of guns, that's it. They were told, sorry, something in your medical record. They never even had PTSD. Both these guys are Vietnam veterans. I mean, and I don't know why one guy's a retired NFL, the other guy was a UT guy. But, I mean, they are persecuting veterans unbelievably right now. And, again, it's not in the news, so it's like no big deal. God bless you. Appreciate your call. Listen, all these West Point training drills, all these Texas A&M training drills, folks, if they can get away at Texas A&M with teaching there's no Bill of Rights and no Second Amendment and it's going to be repealed, they can do anything. That's what they do. They just put all the professors in to say we're going to kill gun owners. Esquire actually says, you don't turn them in, we're going to cold dead hand you. Okay, you want to die? We're coming. I mean, it's like, I can't even believe they're publishing it. And it tells me they're getting ready to, like you just said, as a military man, you get it. What are they going to pull? They're going to pull out a big terror attack. They're going to blame it on us, folks. There it is. Texas A&M law professor. Constitution is obsolete. Second Amendment must be repealed. There's the article. Man, it blows me away. Look, when stuff's even crazier than I thought it would be, you know you're in trouble. That's the thing. I know why the public denies this stuff, because I can't believe it. But it's all happening, just like it did everywhere else. And if we don't recognize it and get really aggressive, peacefully is the key, but aggressively. Because you can't just sit around getting your guns ready, folks. You've got to get offensively in the info war. So even if it goes physical, we've got our info out there ahead of the game, okay? And listen, they start it and start trying to round folks up. Believe me, folks, I'm not a pushover, but I'm only one man physically. In an info war, I'm more effective. But I'm not going to a FEMA camp. I'm not even afraid. I'm actually just sad for the morons that are to come up against me. Real sad for them. But I'll do what I got to do, won't you? Scott in Arizona, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. So I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener, and somehow I was able to put down my NFL remote and wrestle myself away from the gladiatorial games to talk with you today. Somehow. Just real quick, in 2008, I saw a bumper sticker said InfoWars. I loved the term. It intrigued me. And that's what turned me on to you. And I just want to tell everybody out there, those bumper stickers really work. And I've worn the shirt around, and people ask me all the time about it. And in fact, I put it on my license plate. I've got InfoWars on my license plate. People will ask me about it, and that brightens my day because I know I'm talking to just one person. And I whip out my phone, I show them Bilderberg. I'll just Wikipedia it right on my phone. Hey, this is the real news. This is Bilderberg. This is this. And I'll show them. And when I can see them getting through to them, inevitably they'll ask, well, what can I do? Because I can see them getting overwhelmed. Well, what can I do about it? I tell them, just spread the word. Wake other people up. Educate yourself. That's what you can do. One other quick point. My son came home. I don't know if you've ever heard of this play called The Goat or Who is Sylvia. It is a play about bestiality. It was performed on Broadway in, I believe, 2008.
Yeah, aren't they trying to teach that in school?
Yeah. So
well, how dare you be racist against goat sex? It's normal to have government teach goat sex in school.
You would have thought it. And my son came and said, I didn't know about it. None of the parents knew about it. My son came to Dad, I want to talk to you. And, we're doing this play, and I don't feel comfortable, and it's got the F word and all this other stuff in it, and there's incest, and I'm supposed to kiss a guy in the play, and blah, blah, blah. And I thought he was kidding. I thought he was kind of. I said,
I don't remember the full story, but I remember seeing in the news like a year ago they're teaching bestiality. Actually, they're actually teaching it at Fort Hood, but also in public schools. Well, sir, why are you bigoted against goat sex? I mean, that shows you're closed-minded.
Well, of course I am, and you would have thought I was because I called the school board immediately that weekend, and they were all aghast. They proclaimed, every one of them was, "Are you kidding me?" And what I did is I read the lines from the play, which if anybody goes and looks up this play, you'll see how unbelievably dirty.
What's the name of it? I'll do a story on it. I remember hearing about it. I forgot the name.
It's unbelievable. It's called The Goat or Who is Sylvia.
It's called Obama's. Yeah. All right, brother, I'll look into it. Listen, God bless you. I'm going to do some overdrive, which is internet only at Infowars.com on the audio and video streams at Infowars.com/show to finish up these calls, because I promised to go to Chris and Tim and Kevin and Chuck. But then that's it until tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, with the weekday show. God bless you all, folks. They're attacking us. What are you going to do? Strategic relocation. Your phone calls as promised. By the way, The Goat or Who is Sylvia, and here are the news articles. Remember hearing about this. Arizona school teaching children how to have sex with goats. Well, I mean, folks, that's just being closed-minded and racist against goats. I mean, if you don't want your 7-year-olds taught how to have sex with goats, you're racist against goats. I mean, if you don't like mole on your enchiladas, you're against black people. I love mole, by the way, but that's because I'm not racist. They want you just taught to just have no opinion and go, I'm scared of being who I am. It's just total mind control. We're in overdrive at 6:02, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, Central Standard Time, broadcasting worldwide. I've got crew coming up here right now, meetings on the new website for InfoWars and Prisonplanet and new graphics for everything. So I'm going to be working tonight. Don't worry. I'm not lazy. I've only worked half a day today on Sunday. We'll continue working for many hours after the show ends. But right now, let's go to your phone calls. Chris in Indiana, thank you for holding. You're on the air, sir.
Hey, Alex. To that Colonel Bateman, I just want him to know that I'm cleaning my guns, and that's not a threat. That's what I'm just saying, because he said he wants to take them all, and I'm not going to be in that crowd that gives them over very easily. Hey, I listen religiously, and thank you for going overdrive today so you can take my call. I was listening the other day when you were talking about Eric Blair or George Orwell when he got shot through the neck. I've read all of his writings, including his essays, just like you. Homage to Catalonia, the Spanish Civil War, is that nonfiction book. And it was funny because, ironically, as I'm cleaning my guns, it was very funny. He's almost a comedian in a way, because the stories he tells are so fascinating. He said they would sometimes clean their rifles with bacon fat, that that the supplies were so short, they used to clean their rifles with bacon fat.
And he describes how they could have beaten the fascists, but the communist leaders were just such criminals, bank robber types, that they would kill anyone who was successful because they saw them as competition. And he describes the communist secret police and how government was just a conduit for evil to do whatever they wanted to.
Also, he also mentioned how Britain, who he basically said, he summed it up saying Britain was supportive of fascism, because if Britain wanted to, if they basically wanted to conquer the fascists in Spain, that they would just basically give all the rifles and finance all the communists that were fighting there. I mean, it was
no. They were busy, exactly. They were busy enabling Hitler with the financing, telling him, you can have Europe, we love you. The king is going to be your Nazi leader. They totally set Hitler up. People go, how dare you defend Hitler? That's how mindless they are. No, we're talking about how the British intelligence helped Hitler get in on record and then told him to start World War II. That's why Neville Chamberlain enabled Hitler. It was all a setup to then blow Europe to hell.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I want your take on is that Bitcoin plunged to about $700. And then also, I'm sure, because I heard your analysis on the new Hunger Games Catching Fire, and unless you got there late, you probably saw a preview beforehand of the new Divergent series.
Yes.
Which I've read all the books. I've read all the books, and it is total Agenda 21 predictive programming versus a patriot, which is Veronica Roth, who wrote the books, and same thing like Suzanne Collins. I'm not sure if she's a patriot or if she's someone that's trying to do a predictive programming thing, because in these books, it's total 100% divide and conquer. They are brain scanning people. Government is telling you how to think, and there's truth serums, death serums, memory serums. It's like vaccines.
Exactly, and now they've been all the movies. The vaccine will program your brain. That's been going on for 20 years. That's why so much of the public. Look, the big secret here is, and I don't want to demoralize people. It's clear the 4 years ago the H1N1 had a bunch of weird stuff scientists found. It's got microplasms, basically already genetically existing many bacteria and viruses that they programmed as carriers, and that they're already basically putting out basically lobotomizers. And so a lot of the public, and now it's going into food and sprays. That's why we just got to get our heart right soon. There may come a day where I'll wake up one day after being sick for a week and I can't get upset anymore. I mean, it's the end of free will. I mean, we're already so deep into the matrix that the only reason they haven't released more of it is that they don't want to infect themselves, and they're not sure they've got cures for it or countermeasures. But yeah, you've hit the deep level here, and it's real sad. That's why if I really wanted to, I would run to the most remote area there is immediately, because this is not a game. That's all God bless you. I appreciate you calling. I got to go quick here. Let's go to the next caller. Who's up next here? Tim in Maine. Tim, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Alex. It's an honor to talk to you. You're a great guy.
No, honor to talk to you, brother.
You are running on rocket fuel. A couple of quick things. We've got the Google barges up here. I'm getting some high-res photos of these barges. I'm keeping track of them, and I'll keep those posted for you, just to keep an eye on what's going on with that.
Just take your shot, and you won't be upset anymore. Take the flu shot.
Yeah.
We'll give you a 20% discount at CVS because we love you. It's okay. It's okay, Tim.
Yeah, these people they're all sick.
No. There's going to be a better world once you're dead.
Oh boy, you know what? You sound like the people at our city council meetings here. You know, I reached a point where I call my representatives and I write them, and they don't listen. And we're getting to a point.
Just turn your guns in, like Bateman said, or we'll have to kill you. We're really liberal. Hi.
Oh, you sound just like them too, just like them. I have the last month. I had 5 people download your app.
Liberal.
I told them where to get your app. So they have.
Let me plunge this dagger into your heart, or you're racist. Do you mind, Tim, if I stab you in the heart, or you're racist?
Yeah, actually I do.
Okay, racist. Go ahead and make your point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I videotaped one of our navigators here doing the healthcare law, and
one of the Commissar helpers.
Oh my gosh, Alex! I taped the whole thing. I have the whole thing, and eventually I'm going to post it. I'll post a link. But this country's going down the tubes.
Oh no, the helping is here.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
Never mind all the statistics that everywhere everything's plunging. That's the freedom coming. Slit your wrist. Feel the freedom. Government loves you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. And you said it too. These people, they don't think they're part of the plan, and they are going to be part of the plan.
They're not a cult of evil. They're the winners.
Oh, yeah. They'll be the losers right along with us. Oh,
they are last season's losers, make no mistake. But it doesn't matter because perception's reality. They're the winners.
Well, they're so off balance, and it's it affects me. That's when I have an issue with it. You've got a lot of great stuff out there. I was wondering, I do some stuff with public access. Are we allowed to show any of your videos on public access?
You are not allowed. You are compelled. Everything is copyright open for nonprofit educational purposes. My problem is when I used to say just everything's open, people would say, "Well, I own InfoWars and I'm suing you. I own the name." So, when you have no copyright that come after you, everything's wide open for nonprofit educational purposes.
Fantastic, Alex. That is great. And one last question. If we are looking at Obama, we are looking at our representatives, they are not following the rules. There's no rule of law.
No, these are enemy agents, which if you'll just lay down and die, Tim, there'll be more land for them. They're the experts. They deserve everything. They never worked a day in their life, but they know how to grovel to government. The system's going to reward them. Of course, they're not going to be rewarded. They're the first to be exterminated. That doesn't matter. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, Alex, you make a great point. That's just how they think, and it's going to be right after us when it's done. But I'm not going down a lot of fight, and I've talked to a lot of people who
well, that sounds terrorist, sir.
Yeah, well, they're listening now, so they can come and get at me. But the thing is, what do we do with these people who have no rule of law? We have no place to go.
Let me tell you, you got hardcore instincts God gave you that will annihilate these enemies. You recognize they're the enemy and just say, God, I'm weak. I'm just your vessel. This is the enemy. Show me what to do. You will literally wake up with dreams at night of how to go after them. Just like I did 20 years ago, just discovering this. And I mean, they can attack me with that, but it's true. I literally would say prayers to God to help me fight them. And God has directed me the entire time how to fight the enemy. We're going to beat them. Every weapon they form against us will only backfire. They think they can virally attack our cerebral cortex and our centers. The brain has backups. When they attack us is when we brain boost. Listen, this is the great challenge. Everything they do, we're designed to defeat. People don't just think we just fell off an apple cart yesterday, do they? This whole planet is literally just a giant training game zone for the next level. Everything the enemy does to us is only to prepare us. It's all a great test. God bless you. Just be glad that you're even aware of their operations. Who we should feel sorry for is those that aren't even aware of the great animating contest. Kevin in Oregon, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, brother, great to hear from the great North Woods.
You bet, brother. Good to hear from you.
Hey, listen, man, the House Judiciary Committee last Tuesday, 3 out of the 4 learned scholars of the Constitution decided and came to the conclusion that Obama is a tyrant. There's no doubt about it. Read the pages.
Ooh, that's a good headline. Congressional experts, Obama is a tyrant. No, but the thing is, they were looking over their shoulders and freaked out. Because when you finally admit this to yourself, you're like, oh, my God, it already happened. What are we going to do? Exactly. You're right. That article's up on Infowars.com right now. Go ahead.
I read every page of the testimony, and I watched it live on television. And these people are refusing to do anything about it. Listen, everybody, you have to inform yourselves. You have to get on the net. You don't shut it off when this program goes off the air. Do the research, read the facts, and arm yourself. It starts right here at home. And then you take it to the cafe, you take it to the truck stop, you take it to work, you take it to the gym, but you spread the word. That's our only battleground.
God bless you. That's it. We're under attack. We're going to fight hard as we can. And believe me, we're only in trouble because we let all these globalist pieces of trash. Once good people get motivated, it's over.
They're doing to the reserve, the world reserve currency, which is the dollar. Look what they're doing to it. There are signed contracts between China, France, Spain, all of the European countries that they're now accepting payment in European money.
That's right. They are concertedly devaluing the dollar, setting us up. Is total treason. And even Federal Reserve heads in Kansas City and Dallas are going public because, man, I mean, even if you work for the New World Order, watching them butcher America is freaky, even to insiders. I mean, they already ran everything. Why are they wrecking everything? Because they hate us. We stood in their way for hundreds of years. Now they use us as an engine. They think generationally. They think genetically. And they couldn't beat our great-grandparents. They're going to beat us. Do folks understand that? This is everything on the table now. They're not going to give us quarter. They hate Americans, even as they use us. Everything they do is about a sick design to use the very people that stood against them to set up their planetary regime. We must resist them. God bless you. I appreciate your call. One final call from Chuck in Wisconsin. I'm out of time after that. Great job with the crew, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the great animating contest of liberty. I'm an imperfect vessel, but I will assure you I runneth over. It is my imperfectness is why I've been chosen for this mission, as you've all been chosen. That's why God loves us. I'm like a sieve. God just pours in the knowledge, and it runs out all the holes onto everybody else. And it's the same thing for you in your area. None of us are perfect, but we love goodness. We love justice. We love God. We love beauty. We're not upset by somebody making beautiful music. We admire them. We're not mad at somebody that writes beautiful literature. We admire them and commune with them. We admire leaders. We admire pure people. We admire goodness. You are blind. I am blind to the enemy who hates beauty. You must discover that they hate the beauty of the child. We would kill to protect the innocent. They would kill to hurt the innocent. We would kill to honor. Got to talk to Chuck in Wisconsin, guys. Fade that down. Never before have we had that. Oh, my goodness. It just feels good to stand up for what's right. Chuck in Wisconsin, and then we will go out with Flight of the Valkyries or the Obama Turkey. Imagine what that would, Wagner didn't build that symphony. Government did. Let's go ahead and talk to Chuck in Wisconsin. Chuck, you're on the air. Go ahead.
What up, Mr. Jones? This is Chuck from Wisconsin. I've lived here for a long time, and as you know, the biggest military weapon is the supply truck and these MRAPs. And being here in Wisconsin, every year we have the EAA Oshkosh show, the biggest air show. And
oh, yeah, my cousin went to that. He said it's amazing.
Yes, it is. It is amazing. This year, though, because of the sequester, there was no military jets. But every year, since we're close to since the Oshkosh truck portrays their vehicles there, they have, no joke, lined up from the end of the airfield to the other end of the airfield, hundreds upon hundreds of supply trucks, MRAPs, et cetera, et cetera. So I talked to the people at the booth there where they are showing their military trucks, their cement trucks, whatever. And the gentleman there surprisingly told me that he has over thousands, he said 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 other trucks stored at a parking lot at the Oshkosh producing facility.
Yeah, for those that don't know, they've pre-deployed supply trucks and armored vehicles everywhere, admittedly for civil unrest preparations, which they're going to trigger. It's not like they're responding to civil unrest they didn't trigger. That would be good. They're responding to an engineered crisis. And absolutely, you should take photos of that. You should write a blurb on planetinfowars.com. And if you can't get a hold of us, you can go sign up at planetinfowars.com and put it there and then hopefully get it to us. That's a great way to kind of email us, is to go put it there. At least the public will see it. Other points?
Yeah, there was the really scary part was being that this was the first year of the sequester and there was no military jets, had a huge impact on all the vendors and people who work there and et cetera. They had the one corporate show, which was a corporate, the flying man, jet man, who flies around from the corporate side, all black op looking. And as I was watching the show and as it wrapped up, there was, I don't know, it was kind of creeped me out. And after I thought about it, it's kind of like a time, maybe a possible timetable for when the big rollout's occurring, because they had this line of probably about 100 to 150 children, all males between the ages of 12 and 16, with military-looking, wearing BDU floppy hats, priests with them, and they're all wearing the same T-shirt, marching in unison with flags. Like, this is kind of...
Oh, yeah, no. Marathons, anything. They have Yugen groups under federal sponsorship marching around. That's total preparation. I wish people would shoot video of that. Folks, you are the front line. I'm nobody. You're just as important as I am, or more so. In fact, individually, more important. You need to videotape that, give it a headline, put it on YouTube and one other site or more as the HUMET, the human intelligence, to expose this. Anything else?
Yeah, I have the pictures and videos, post them, and they get taken down, whatever. But
where are they? Tell us. Tell us. We'll do an article right now. Where are they?
You want me to send them to you?
You say you haven't posted. Just tell us the site.
Well, I put them on YouTube. They got taken off my YouTube and Facebook. They just get taken down and they cancel my account.
Oh, I know. That's part of the censorship. Mail us the info.
I can email them to you or mail them if you like.
Yeah, email it with links to some download site to showtips@infowars.com with like Oshkosh or Air Show in the headline. God bless you, brother. All right, I'm out of time. Great job to the crew. That was some overdrive right there. Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow. Please pray for us, because believe me, we got the eye of Sauron staring right at us, but God's eyes are staring at us as well. So I look past that big red eye in the sky right up to the eyes deep out there. That's the eyes that matter. That's the hands I'm in, the wings I'm under, and you as well. Believe me, they think they got it all figured out. If we just do the right thing on faith and are honorable, God will give us providence and bring us the rest of the way. That's the vision. We're being tested. Infowars.com. See you back tomorrow.